Hey everybody, this is Adam at Archery Country. Today's video, we're going to go through a Q&A session all about crossbows. A lot of times we have a lot of questions about crossbows, people checking them out maybe for the first time or seeing what's new out there on the market. And so today we're just going to go through and tackle some of those for you here right now. All right, so first question is going to be, can anybody shoot a crossbow? Yeah, anybody can shoot a crossbow. We've had extremely young people, as young as 4 shoot a crossbow and all the way up into their 90s shoot a crossbow. And in terms of who can own a crossbow, anybody can. There's no age minimum. When it comes to owning a crossbow, you don't need to be disabled to own a crossbow either. It all depends on what state you're hunting in. Each state's gonna be a little bit different in terms of who can hunt with a crossbow and then like during what season you can hunt with one. Here in Minnesota, you have to be over the age of 60 or have a doctor's written permission, or you can use it during any gun season. If you have a gun tag, it can be considered a lesser weapon as well. So next question, what are the benefits of using a crossbow? A lot of benefits. One, if you're physically disabled or can't physically pull back a bow, a crossbow is a great way to stay involved in the outdoors. Personally, I like using crossbows because I can actually shoot them. It's cheaper to shoot than a gun. You can reach out to long ranges and distances accurately with certain types of crossbows out there. Also, even if you're not physically disabled, in certain states like Minnesota, use them during muzzleloader season. I don't have a muzzleloader, but I can use a crossbow. So it's a good way to get more function out of a bow and utilize a longer season, especially longer than gun season, use a bow, especially people that might be younger and want to turkey hunt. You can also get them a crossbow if you don't want them to have to deal with the recoil or the loudness of a gun. So a way to introduce young people into the outdoors as well. All right, next question here is going to be, what are some of the best crossbow companies? The 3 main ones that we sell here at the shop are going to be Mission, Raven, and also 10 Point. Those 3 companies have been doing it for a good while now. All 3 of those companies are going to offer different types of draw systems, different speed of bows, different weights, various degrees of how compact those bows are. All of them come at a little bit different price point as well. So no matter what you want to spend on a bow, one of those 3 companies is going to have one. They've also been super reliable and very accurate type crossbows and have been very successful for our customers in general. All right, moving on to the next question. What kind of targets can be used with the crossbow? Different types of targets that are out there that work really good with the crossbow. Kind of depends. If you have a really high energy crossbow, it's nice to use one that's kind of like a self-healing foam. 365 targets have worked really well. This is what we use in all of our ranges for shooting crossbows with broadheads into them. They pull really well. Crossbows have a lot of energy. We need the friction to stop them. These have that, but they also are easy to pull out of them as well. These have a rotating core so that we get the most life out of them, different dots and arrangements, and they come in different sizes. So that way with crossbows, if you want to shoot long distances, you definitely can, and getting sighted in, you're not going to lose any bolts with it. Certain bag targets, they work all right. It's just that after a little bit of use, sometimes you can get some holes built and you're passing through with bolts. Bolts aren't very long, so we don't have much air to create friction on to get them to stop. And bag targets can sometimes have issues with that, especially when you get above that 400 foot per second mark, and especially 20 yards and under. Main thing is, if you want to shoot broadheads, it has to be in some type of foam type of target or self-healing rubber type foam. Bag targets you do not want to shoot those broadheads into. You'll never get them out and it'll just cause a lot more issues. So again, recommend these 365s. Have been awesome for all types of broadheads, even up to the 500 feet per second type broadhead or bows that are out there. Okay, next question. What type of scopes are people using on their crossbows when hunting? It all kind of varies. Most crossbows are going to come with 1 of 2 scopes, either a fixed reticle type. It just has different hash marks or reticles in that scope. They're not adjustable whatsoever. You have to find the gapping that matches up with the speed of your bow. The second most common is going to be a speed adjustable scope. On that one, it'll have a turret, kind of like how you would adjust the magnification on it, but it's going to have all these different marks for different speeds of the bow. And then it's going to have different hash marks on the inside, and they'll be preset different distances, and it'll tell you which ones those are, just varies on the scope. And then shoot the bow through a chronograph, set it for that speed, shoot at different distances, and then you adjust that ever so slightly depending on what you're getting down range. Also, we see more and more people switching to like a range finding type of scope. Like for example, this 10 Point here is equipped with a Garmin sight. Garmin Burris Oracle is another option as well. Basically, this sight will range find, automatically calibrate for the specific drop of the bow, and then you're able to shoot, and then it'll impact accordingly. It all just kind of also depends on what type of state you're hunting in and the regulations for that state. Some don't allow any magnification, some don't allow electronics, some don't allow range finding sights. So again, just look up those state regs as well if you're going on a crossbow hunt and you want to equip it with a new crossbow scope. But again, fixed reticle, speed adjusted, and then range finding scopes have been by far the most popular. Next question, can I use the same type of broadhead that I use with my compound bow? Easy answer, no. With broadhead or with crossbows, they're going to be shooting at a much higher speed, and so to get a fixed blade broadhead to fly accurately is going to be very, very hard. We recommend using an expandable type broadhead and make sure that it's a crossbow rated broadhead. And so like this one, for example, the Rage Hypodermic No Collar, they also make one for a vertical bow. Just make sure on the packaging it says crossbow rated. The crossbow rated is just gonna be a stiffer string or a spring, so that way when you shoot, they don't want to open up prematurely. But the expandables, they're not gonna want to plane as bad as a fixed blade broadhead, and so therefore we're gonna get better flight and a much faster speed of these modern crossbows as well. This one here is by far and large one of the most popular models that we have, but we also have different models that people prefer as well. But just make sure it's crossbow rated and that it's an expandable, that way you get the best broadhead flight possible. Another common question that we get is, how many shots can you get out of a crossbow before you have to restring, or what's the lifespan of a crossbow? All kind of depends on the model and the type of crossbow that you're working with. If you get a mid-range crossbow that's gonna have a string that rides on the rail, you probably expect to get about 100 shots. Most crossbow manufacturers are going to recommend an every other year replacement for basically the safest and most accurate crossbow function. Most of the higher end crossbows are going to have a string that does not ride on a rail. It's kind of a free floating system. Those are going to last longer because there's a lot of friction that's built up as the string comes forward on that rail, and that's where a lot of the damage comes from. But we also don't need to shoot these bows a lot to wear them down. Having them cocked for long periods of time actually puts a lot of stress on the cables, and so that is one thing that will wear them out as well. A bow that we have to shoot to decock and also rides on the rail, those two factors are going to wear out a bow probably the quickest as compared to higher end ones that are going to have that free floating system and we can actually let down without having to shoot. And so again, just plan on every 2 years having to restring that crossbow unless you're shooting it a lot, or there's some type of abnormal damage like from hunting, being used out in the field, something gets cut, then of course it's going to be more frequent. All right, so the next question, is there specific crossbow carry cases? There definitely is, and these cases are going to vary. Kind of depends on what the archer expects out of a case, how much travel they're going to do with it, and how much stuff they want to be able to store. One of the most basic cases you get, just like with a vertical bow, is going to be a soft case. $60 soft case such as this one here. It's going to provide all the basic functions of a case that it should. You put your bow in here and it's going to protect from wear and tear on those strings and cables, minor abuse, save those limbs from getting nicks and dings, and then like the scope especially, that's another thing that we have to protect on these to make sure that those don't get scratched, dusty, dented, things like that. This one here, it's going to be the least bulky, and each brand might have their own specific case that's going to be a little bit more fitted. Or on the opposite end of the spectrum, again, just like vertical bows, you can get into a hard case. And those hard cases, of course, the price is going to be a little bit higher, but for somebody that wants to throw this in the back of a pickup and stack coolers and tree stands on it, of course, it's going to provide a lot more protection for those crossbows as well. This one here in particular has wheels on it, so if you want to be pretty mobile with it, you can. This one's going to be pretty fitted for the particular bow that it's made for, so there's not a lot of slop in them whatsoever, but a very good option for somebody that wants the utmost protection in a crossbow as well. So there's a couple more questions here. What's a good age to get involved with a crossbow or get a youth started with a crossbow? Well, to be honest with you, there's really no minimum and there's no maximum age. As long as that individual, it's going to be case by case, if they can physically handle that crossbow, if they're mentored properly, they know to put their hands in the proper spot. Really, we've seen it as young as 3 or 4 years of age, people shooting, and again, people all the way up into their 90s getting into crossbow shooting as well. So again, mostly case by case with that. It's all about who's there mentoring them, but we deal with all ages here at the shop. All right, so the last question here, what does a crossbow cost? Very general question, but we get that asked a lot. People that are trying to enter the market or see what's all out there. Crossbows can be as cheap as a couple $100, $200-300 type crossbows, all the way up to $35,000 to $4,000 crossbows. The differences being, one, the technology on them, of course. You're going to have a lot more performance and speed out of the top end bows. They're going to be more compact typically, more reliable, of course, more accurate, better quality strings, easier to cock. Some of the lower quality ones aren't going to have any type of cocking aid whatsoever. Most of them are going to be a hand-drawn type option. With your high quality crossbows, those are all going to be something that you can cock, but also decock without having to shoot them. With very, very wide array of crossbows that are out there. Most of them are probably going to average that $800 to $1,200 mark. I mean, that's just kind of the balance of the industry. And of course, there's different pluses and cons as you go to the left and right of that price point. But these are just some of the general questions that we get asked on a daily basis here at our 3 locations and our online presence. If you have any more questions, feel free to submit them to us. We're more than willing to answer these questions. We work with Crossbows every day. We enjoy helping answer these questions with people. Make sure to hit like and subscribe. We're going to have more Crossbow product reviews, more Crossbow content coming out as it gets closer to the season here. If you have any questions, drop us a line, stop in at one of our stores. And again, thank you for your time.